Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Best in Slot with some unfortunate news to start off your day. And that is that Jurassic World Dominion, the final film in the Jurassic World Trilogy, has been delayed to June 10th, 2022, a delay of basically a full year. This was announced on Colin Treverrow's Twitter, along with a very, very cool, it must be said, brand new poster. I think a lot of people will now have this as their phone background, featuring this old amber slice with the Jurassic Park logo buried inside it. Very, very cool looking. The delay is slightly less cool, unfortunately. It is nearly a year. It's not too surprising given what's going on. However, it is worth mentioning that Jurassic World has been filming for the past 3 months, despite the pandemic. They did halt production for a while, but it seemed they were on track, and they definitely didn't fall a year behind. So we need to look at other reasons as to why this might be the case. And I suspect it's because as other films, 2020 films, like say the new James Bond, have been pushed back to 2022, Jurassic World felt it was maybe going to get crowded out in what we could assume is going to be a fairly jam-packed summer next year. Well, depending on the situation, a fairly jam-packed summer next year with lots of blockbusters hitting around the same time. Jurassic World is now a billion-dollar franchise, along with Jurassic Park, and they want to give the film the best chance possible. So if they push it back to 2022, it will likely be the big tentpole summer blockbuster for that year. I suspect fairly strongly that is more of a reason for this delay than the struggles of filming in the pandemic, which is unfortunate, but at the end of the day, this is the world we live in. There's really not much we can do about it. We just kind of have to grit our teeth and bear it for however long it lasts. We did get some more information. We got a full cast list, which you can see there as well. I think we knew maybe all of these. There was only one name that I found particularly surprising. I went and did I think you'll all agree, very professionally made cast name list. So let's go through. First of all, we have our two new leads, which is the Wonder Wise and Mamadou Athie. I think they're a couple, and they're likely going to, they're going to be important in some way. They're both lead actors. In the film, they've been announced as lead actors. It's going to be interesting. This is a lot of characters, and you'd imagine Owen and Claire and Maisie, who's down here, are all going to remain fundamentally very important. Owen's the main actor, Claire's the main actor of the franchise. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance that with a new group of people. That said, beyond that, there are only two other new characters. We have Scott Hayes and Daikon Lockman, both of which I don't think we know anything about their roles so far. Everyone else on this page is returning to some extent. So we've got Ellie Sattler, we've got Zia from the first film, from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I should say. Obviously Jeff Goldblum's back. We've got Justice Smith as Franklin, Sam Neill as Grant, BD Wong as Dr. Wu, who I imagine Wu, along with one of these two, is going to be the antagonist of the film. However, adding to that, we have Campbell Scott, who's going to be playing the older version, the new version of Louis Dodgson, who, of course, despite taking on absolute renowned status within the franchise, hasn't been in since the first 5 minutes of the first film, essentially. Well, a little bit later than that. So that's going to be really interesting. How do all of these fit together? Because, Campbell Scott, obviously, the idea is he works for Biosyn. It's not the same actor as the original Dodgson, for obvious reasons. He works for Biosyn, so how does that link in with BD Wong? I've got to imagine one of these two new people as well will probably be connected to Dodgson. We also have, and this is the most exciting, I don't know if this had been announced, but I only just saw it, Omar Sy, who was, of course, Barry in the first Jurassic World. Oft forgotten Barry, very much neglected in the Jurassic World Minecraft game. He's not even called Barry. If you try to summon him in, he's called Berry or something. They couldn't even be bothered to get his name right. So Barry coming back is pretty cool, but this is a lot of characters right here. This is a lot of characters who are, part of the franchise already and not likely to be completely... Okay, Barry will get sidelined. He always does, but it's going to be very interesting because they've said Goldblum, Dern and Neil are going to be prominent characters. They're not going to be completely ignored. They're not just little bit cameo parts. I imagine we're still talking maybe 10 minutes of screen time at max. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they squeeze this many people together. And, you know, the dinosaurs. I've got to assume Wu's going to die, but maybe they'll leave it open for more films. So I'm going to bring up this because it is a very cool... Look at that. That is a very cool image right there. But it's an unfortunate delay. The one thing I want to talk about very quickly is whether this means... So I am a big proponent that Jurassic World Evolution 2 is in development and was likely to see release next summer. What I'm now curious about is whether let's just assume for the purpose of this video that Dominion, that Evolution 2 is a real thing. Would the delay of Dominion also delay Jurassic World Evolution? Jurassic World Evolution, the first one, was timed to coincide with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And the stories did have some crossover and link. It was very much its own universe. It didn't link that directly until Claire's Sanctuary came out. But it is interesting to think about. I think it might, you know. It depends how... We'd have to know how linked together were the stories of Evolution 2 and Dominion. If they're very intrinsically connected in a lot of ways, then Jurassic World Evolution 2 could genuinely see a delay to 2022, which would be a massive, heartbreaking shame. If they're as connected as Jurassic World Evolution 1 was to Fallen Kingdom, then maybe that won't be the case. If anything, they may see it as an opportunity to release a big slice of Jurassic World media in the summer that was meant to have Jurassic World and now won't. They can use this as a way to, you know, keep interest in the franchise going for an extra year, where maybe it would have tapered off in the past, by releasing something. And then Jurassic World Evolution 2 could release a Dominion-themed DLC in 2022. The problem they'd have is, like in Jurassic World Evolution, say the Sinoceratops was a big dinosaur, the Carnotaurus, stuff like that. Maybe Jurassic World Evolution 1, I should say, maybe JWE2 would have many dinosaurs that would spoil what was meant to be in Dominion. I'm a little apprehensive. I've been hoping and wishing for Dominion and Evolution 2 and stuff like that in order to... you know, it's the kind of stuff I focus on, so I'm a little nervous, but we'll see what happens. Don't want to waste any more of your time, but yeah, there you go. Well, that's the poster. It's a cool poster. I'll give them that. Obviously, I'll give you any more news when we have it. Maybe we'll find out the reason for the delays, and, you know, more plot details and information will slip out over the coming months. I think the film is basically going to probably finish filming a lot earlier than anticipated, and it'll just have much more post-production time than they originally anticipated. Of course, production did get delayed somewhat because of COVID anyway. They had to stop filming for a long time. And even though they have been filming, I can't imagine it's as easy to film in COVID times as it was pre-COVID. I know there was a location that they're using much less of because of the dangers of COVID in that location. So we'll have to see what happens. I will keep you abreast of any information, but I hope you all have a lovely day. Sorry this was depressing, but it's news for everyone who wasn't awake when it got announced 8 hours ago in US time. And I'll see you guys later on for a proper video, probably. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.